Rain pours over the back alley where the girl stands alone, soaked and hesitant. A passerby notices her at last and calls out, warning her she'll catch a cold if she stays there. She tightens her grip on her clothes and turns toward him, and in that brief, rain-soaked moment, an unexpected encounter quietly begins. Rain slides down her sleeves as she curls against the wall, hugging herself for warmth. Without meeting his eyes, she softly asks him not to get involved with her, the words carrying quiet fear. Unnoticed by either of them, that small, fragile plea becomes the spark that sets everything in motion. This world is the setting of a game called Kizuri, also known as The Magic of Bonds and The Holy Soiree. In it, the heroine Find is a commoner who can use rare holy magic, allowing her to enroll in the Royal Magic Academy despite its strict preference for royalty and aristocrats. There, she deepens her bonds with specific targets, growing stronger through those relationships. In the original story, she defeats the final boss and ultimately marries one of them. Kizuri is an RPG-style Otome game built around a rags-to-riches story, where choices shape relationships and destiny. Its reputation comes from being a story meant to hurt, filled with suffering, sacrifice, and emotional loss beneath its romantic surface. There was a route that made the game infamous. To reach it, Find must fail at a critical point, her affection levels never rising high enough with any of the capture targets. With no strong bonds to protect her, everything collapses. Her holy magic is denounced as vile dark magic, and the academy turns on her. Bullying grows vicious and relentless until she's forced to drop out. One night, she simply disappears, leaving the academy behind without farewell or justice. Players called it the bad ending, some even said it was the game's true ending. A story designed to break hearts from beginning to end. Now we introduce Ash Laban, a Japanese man who has been reincarnated into the world of Kizuri. Standing in the uniform of the academy, his calm expression hides the weight of foreknowledge he carries. This is no unfamiliar story to him, he knows exactly how this world is supposed to unfold, and how cruel it can be. One day after he turned 10, Ash found himself tucked away in the academy's library, quietly browsing through maps and reference books for future dungeon exploration. Shelves of neatly arranged volumes surrounded him as he flipped pages with open curiosity, already thinking ahead despite his young age. Leaning over one book, he studied a detailed dungeon layout and murmured that he wanted to explore it someday. Another page revealed an illustrated monster, its wings spread wide. He examined it closely, noting its appearance with interest. Understanding the world far better than any normal child should, Ash calmly assessed the creature's traits. Despite its intimidating look, he recognized its weakness and concluded that physical attacks would be more effective against it. As Ash sits cross-legged on the library floor, books spread around him in uneven stacks, a strange doubt creeps in. He pauses mid-thought, fingers resting against his chin, and wonders why all of this knowledge feels so natural to him. Monster traits, dungeon layouts, strategies no child his age should possess. The question lingers only a moment before something clicks. His breath catches, eyes widening as a sharp sensation runs through him. Memories rush back all at once, hours spent holding a controller, the title screen of Kizuri, its characters and routes burned into his mind. In that instant, he understands the truth. He remembers playing Kizuri in his past life, and with that realization, everything about this world finally falls into place. With his memories restored, Ash takes stock of the life he's been given. He is the second-born son of the Laban family, a house that sits at the very bottom of the aristocratic hierarchy. Baronet, lower even than a baron, barely recognized among true nobility. Within his own family, his position is just as insignificant, offering him little authority or expectation. Yet he considers this a stroke of luck. He isn't a faceless mob character doomed to fade into the background, nor is he so high-ranking that every move he makes will draw scrutiny. This lowly status grants him freedom and space to act quietly, and to change the future without standing too far in the spotlight. Freed from expectations, Ash chooses to live on his own terms. Since he isn't an heir, no one stops him from embracing that freedom, and he throws himself into dungeon exploration as often as he likes. He faces monsters head-on, cracks open treasure chests, and steadily builds strength and experience beyond what his status would suggest. Yet even as he moves confidently forward, he senses something is off. This world isn't unfolding exactly like the game he remembers. As he reflects on the growing inconsistencies, Ash reaches an unsettling conclusion. Ash Laban was never meant to exist in Kizuri at all. His character has no place in the original story, no role written for him in the game's world. And there is one more, far more troubling issue. No matter how hard he tries, he can't recall the most important detail of all, the heroine herself. Her face, the very center of the story, remains a blank shadow in his mind. As Ash thinks back on everything he knows, doubt settles deeper in his chest. If the heroine's face is gone from his memory, then he can't even be sure the story is still on its intended path. He wonders which route this world is following now or if it's following any route at all. A more unsettling question follows close behind. Does Find even exist? He knows this is still the world of Kizuri. He has seen the captured targets attending the academy just as they should. The pieces of the game are here. Yet the one person who should be at the center of it all remains unseen, leaving Ash uncertain whether the story has merely changed or already gone completely off script. The rain grows heavier as Ash walks through the streets under his umbrella, the steady downpour dulling the world around him. Deciding it's faster, he turns off the main road and takes a shortcut toward the dorms. His steps echo softly against the stone as he moves into the narrower path, and then he freezes. Something feels wrong. Ash slows, eyes sharpening beneath the umbrella as his attention snaps forward, the sense that he's just stumbled into something unexpected. At the end of the narrow path, he finds her. A girl is crouched against the wall, knees drawn tightly to her chest as rain pours mercilessly over her small frame. Water streams from her hair and sleeves, darkening her clothes as she hugs herself for warmth, unmoving and silent. Her face is lowered, eyes hidden beneath wet bangs, as if she's trying to disappear into the cold stone behind her. Ash steps closer beneath his umbrella, the rain muffling his voice as concern slips out before he can stop it. He tells her that if she stays there, she'll catch a cold, his gaze searching her soaked figure. A thought crosses his mind. She looks like a student from the academy, and the way she's hiding makes him wonder if she's being bullied. Slowly, the girl lifts her head just enough for her face to show through the curtain of wet hair. Her expression is tired, distant, and guarded. Hugging herself tighter, she speaks in a small, steady voice, asking him not to get involved with her. The words land heavily between them, carrying more weight than a simple request. She answers him softly, saying she likes sitting there, as if the rain and cold don't matter to her anymore. Ash exhales, a quiet sigh escaping him as he lowers his umbrella. After a brief hesitation, he steps closer and tilts it down, shielding her from the downpour instead. He crouches so they're at eye level and offers it to her without force, telling her to take it. The girl looks up in surprise, eyes widening as the rain suddenly stops falling on her face. For the first time, she truly acknowledges him, the space between them closing under the cover of a single umbrella. Without waiting for her response, Ash straightens and turns away. Over his shoulder, he tells her she doesn't need to return the umbrella, his farewell brief and casual. Then he breaks into a run, rain soaking into his clothes as he disappears down the street. Left behind, the girl remains where she is, clutching the umbrella tightly as the downpour continues around her, watching his retreating figure until it vanishes from sight. The next morning comes quietly. Back in his room, Ash lies in bed, staring up at the ceiling as he reflects on what he did. As long as he doesn't cause trouble, he can afford to miss a day or two of classes and still graduate without issue. Training harder won't change one stubborn fact that no matter how much effort he puts in, his natural resistance never seems to improve. Just as that thought settles, a knock sounds at his door. Ash stiffens and pushes himself up, confusion flickering across his face. As he moves to answer, a single question crosses his mind: who could possibly be here now? Ash opens the door and freezes. Standing there is the girl from the alley, now dry and properly dressed in her academy uniform. She holds his umbrella carefully at her side, clutching his coat against her chest as if afraid it might slip away. Her posture is stiff, but she meets his eyes head-on. She greets him politely, calling him by name, and explains that she came to return his things. Ash stares at what she's holding, shock flashing across his face when she shows him the student ID she found tucked inside his jacket. That explains everything: his name, his room, all of it. He accepts the jacket back with an awkward thanks, still caught off guard by how thoroughly she tracked him down. She explains that she meant to hand it to a guard, but when she heard noises from his room, she decided to return it herself. Her honesty is straightforward, almost apologetic. As she turns to leave, Ash suddenly realizes how pale he is. Concerned she will catches his cold. He suggests her to leave before she catches his cold. But before Ash can finish his sentence, his knees buckle. The girl catches him just in time, instinctively pulling him into her arms as his weight slumps forward. His body is hot against hers, breath unsteady, and it's immediately clear to her what's wrong. He has a fever bad enough that standing is already too much. She tightens her grip, steady and firm, and shakes her head slightly. This won't do. Brushing aside his flustered apology, she tells him she's taking him back to bed, her tone leaving no room for argument. Ash can only manage a weak response as she guides him inside, the balance of the situation quietly, unmistakably shifting in her favor. She helps him lie back down, tucking the blanket around him before asking if he has any cold medicine. When he weakly tells her no, she nods without hesitation and apologizes in advance, asking him to close his eyes. As he does, a gentle warmth spreads through his body. The sharp pain in his throat dulls, and the crushing fatigue begins to melt away, as if something unseen is carefully easing it all off his shoulders. She checks his condition one last time and concludes that he'll be fine now. With that, she announces she's leaving, already turning toward the door. Ash jolts upright despite himself, reaching out in a rush and asking her to wait. Flustered, he insists he should repay her somehow. She speaks softly, reminding him that his help yesterday was more than enough. There's no expectation in her voice, only quiet resolve. Her stomach betrays her, growling softly in the quiet room. She stiffens, eyes widening in embarrassment as her face flushes bright red. Ash blinks, then lets out a weak, surprised laugh. He explains that he was only thinking of eating something simple and suggests they eat together, trying to sound casual despite the awkwardness. She quickly adds that a sick person shouldn't be cooking, and let her help. A little while later, she returns carrying a tray, her steps careful as she balances a small pot and bowl. She stops in front of him and quietly announces that the food is ready, her expression tentative, as if bracing for judgment. She sets the tray down between them, then adds in a softer voice that she isn't sure how it will taste. Steam rises gently from the dish, filling the room with warmth. His eyes light up as he blurts out that it's incredibly delicious, the warmth and flavor clearly hitting just right. Noticing her hesitation, he gently tells her to eat too. She blinks, surprised, and quietly asks if that's really okay. She nods, still shy, and takes a seat with her own bowl. She lifts the spoon to her lips and freezes. Tears well up in her eyes, spilling over before she can stop them. Her hand trembles as she lowers the spoon, a fragile smile trying and failing to hold itself together. Warm drops slide down her cheeks, catching in her lashes. Ash notices instantly. Alarm flickers across his face as he asks what's wrong, wondering if something hurts. She shakes her head quickly, embarrassed, and wipes at her eyes. In a small, unsteady voice, she admits the truth: she hasn't eaten a warm meal in a long time. Ash can't shake the image of her from the night before, curled up in the rain, alone in the back alley. Watching her eat now, so carefully, so gratefully, makes the unease in his chest deepen. He wonders what happened to her. What kind of days she's been living through to make something as simple as warm food bring her to tears. The room grows still, filled only with the faint clink of spoons and the soft sound of liquid settling in the bowl. The silence isn't uncomfortable, but it is heavy, carrying questions neither of them is quite ready to voice yet. The spoon slips from her fingers, and before either of them realizes it, her eyes close. Her breathing evens out, soft and steady, her head tilting slightly as sleep finally claims her. Ash notices and stills at once. She's asleep. A small, relieved breath escapes him as he watches her rest there, peaceful for the first time since he met her. It seems the warmth of the meal and the safety of the moment allowed her to truly relax. The next day arrives without incident. Ash stands in the training grounds once more. A final strike sends his opponent stumbling back, the match ending in a clean, unquestionable victory. The surrounding students erupt with reactions as the result is declared. Ash Laban is named the winner. Later that day, Ash is stopped by a classmate who praises him for his third win in a row. He points out how sharp Ash has been lately, saying he's in the best shape, strong enough to take down anyone with ease, even after seeing him sick in bed just the day before. Ash acknowledges it calmly, though the memory of how weak he felt yesterday flashes through his mind. Barely able to stand, relying on someone else's support, it feels distant now, almost unreal. Since he woke up earlier than usual, he recalls what he did before heading out. He left a note and the spare key behind for the girl, who was still sleeping peacefully at the time. As he walks away, a quiet thought lingers with him. He hopes she was able to take it easy when she woke up. Lunchtime arrives, and the academy cafeteria buzzes with noise and clattering dishes. As they walk together afterward, his friend casually mentions that something big happened yesterday. Ash responds without much thought, until the next words land. His Highness Alberich has officially announced his engagement. His eyes widen as the meaning sinks in, a sharp jolt of surprise cutting through him. That announcement isn't supposed to come so lightly, or so early. Something is definitely changing. Ash's thoughts race as the name settles in. Prince Alberich, one of the captured targets from Kizuri, and the country's second prince. His engagement alone is already a major deviation, but what unsettles Ash more is the woman beside him. When asked who the fiancé is, the answer makes his breath hitch. Elise Ringstadt. That name wasn't in the game. There was no character like her tied to Alberich's route, no baronet's daughter meant to stand at his side. As Ash listens, trying to keep his expression steady, unease coils tighter in his chest. This world is no longer just diverging. It's creating people and futures that were never supposed to exist. Ash listens as his friend explains the academy's rigid structure. Students are divided strictly by noble rank, split into upper and lower classes with entirely different curriculum. Because of that divide, interaction between the two groups is usually close to impossible. But right now, that rule has been quietly overturned. As soon as Prince Alberich's engagement was announced, Elise Ringstadt was transferred into an upper rank class. His friend pointed. There she is, seated among the highest-ranking students as if she has always belonged there. Ash watches the pair from a distance as the scene unfolds with practiced intimacy. Elise smiles brightly as she offers Prince Alberich a boxed sandwich, proudly telling him she packed it herself. Alberich accepts without hesitation, his expression soft as he says he would gladly eat anything she makes. The exchange is warm, almost ostentatiously so, drawing the attention of those nearby. From behind, Ash overhears quiet murmurs. Someone points out that the box looks familiar, one of the cheap sets sold at the school cafeteria. Another voice scoffs, remarking that this is what people mean when they say love is blind. Ash notices her. She's sitting alone at a table, calmly eating, looking unharmed and able to attend school without issue. The sight eases some of the tension in his chest, even if questions linger. As Ash and his friend walk through the cafeteria with their trays, someone else reaches her table before they do. The group confronting her are students known as sleeve holders. The girl is openly insulted for daring to attend the academy despite her low birth, with one student sneering that she doesn't belong in such a noble place. Sleeve holder. This term refers to lower-rank nobles at the academy. At this school, noble rank is visibly marked on the uniform. Only students in upper-rank classes are allowed to wear decorative ornaments on their sleeves. Lower-rank students are permitted to wear plain sleeve instead. Because of this, upper-rank students mock lower-rank ones by calling them sleeve holders, while lower-rank students refer to the upper-rank group as sleeveless. These terms are loaded insults, used to reinforce hierarchy. Surrounded by upper-rank students, she's openly cursed at, told she should disappear, labeled a witch who doesn't belong at the academy. Their voices rise, sharp and cruel, meant to strip her of dignity as much as scare her into submission. She doesn't respond. Her face remains calm, almost blank, as if she's learned that reacting only makes it worse. The insults quickly turn vicious. That silence enrages them. One of the boys snaps, shouting that he'll prove there's no place for her here. His arm swings up, rage twisting his expression, and in the next instant a sword leaves his hand, flying straight toward her. In a sharp flash of motion, Ash steps in front of her, his arm snapping out just in time. The blow is caught mid-swing, metal screeching as it's deflected aside with force. His expression is cold, eyes narrowed with unmistakable anger as he plants himself between her and the attackers. Ash meets the attacker head-on, locking blades as the boy screams insults at him, demanding to know what he thinks he's doing. Ash doesn't flinch. His voice is calm, cutting through the chaos as he answers plainly, he's defending a girl who's being bullied. That only fuels the other boy's rage. The next strike comes fast, but Ash twists aside and counters in one smooth motion. Ash steps in, strikes cleanly, and knocks the sword out of the bully. He tightens his grip, steps in, and drives forward with ruthless precision. The impact lands cleanly, knocking the air straight out of the boy's lungs. Ash has already beaten the bully and is standing there calmly, feeling better after moving his body. Other students arrive and downplay it, calling it just a minor argument between lower and upper rank students. His friend tells Ash he went too far. In return, Ash told his friend to take the responsibility, ending the situation before it escalates further. Ash quickly grabs the girl and pulls her out of the way, leaping back to avoid further trouble. His friend shouts after them, saying he'll make Ash explain everything properly tomorrow. After getting away from the fight, Ash is still holding her and only then realizes it. She shyly asks him to put her down, clearly flustered. Once she's back on her feet, she asks why he went so far to protect her. Ash hesitates, then answers honestly that he simply couldn't leave her alone. She quietly accepts his words, her expression softening as she realizes he truly meant it. Noticing the attention they're drawing while still in uniform, Ash suggests they go to his mansion nearby. She agrees without resistance. Soon after, they arrive at his place, stepping inside together as he calmly tells her they've made it. When they arrive inside the mansion, the girl is shocked by what she sees. The place is a complete mess, filled with piles of dungeon loot and scattered items. She looks around, clearly worried, wondering what could have happened and whether there are even any servants left. Ash explains bluntly that there's no one living or working here right now. Seeing the situation, she decides not to dwell on it and instead asks where the cleaning tools are kept, surprising him with her straightforward response. Seeing how filthy the mansion is, she suddenly gets serious and insists they clean it right away, warning Ash that staying in a place like this could make him sick. She questions why he would leave his own house like this, clearly worried about him, and makes it obvious she's not going to ignore the situation anymore. Ash explains that the cleaning tools should be in the back room, though he admits he usually lives in the dorm instead of here. She puts on an apron without hesitation and cheerfully tells Ash to start cleaning, reassuring him that it's fine and they should just get it done quickly. Ash feels guilty, thinking the mess is his fault, but as he watches her work calmly and efficiently, he realizes she's stronger and more independent than she looks. At the same time, he can't help wondering why the lower-ranked students, sleeve holders, dislike her so intensely, especially when the people who look down on her are from the same lower rank she belongs to. Ash accidentally notices something embarrassing while she's cleaning on the ladder. He realizes it right away and feels awkward, not amused. He thinks about telling her, but decides not to, because pointing it out would only embarrass her. She's cleaning on a ladder when it suddenly becomes unstable. Ash notices the danger and shouts a warning. She loses her balance, and before she can hit the ground, Ash rushes forward and grabs her. After the ladder incident, they're both shaken but unharmed. She thanks Ash for catching her, and Ash immediately checks to make sure she's okay. She apologizes, saying the accident was her own fault for not paying attention, and asks if Ash is hurt. They both confirm they're fine. Only then does she realize how close they still are. A bit embarrassed, she politely asks him to let go. After the accident, Ash hesitates and then admits something awkward. He tells her that when she was on the ladder earlier, he accidentally saw her underwear for a moment. She immediately gets flustered and embarrassed, shouting at him for not saying anything sooner. After they finish cleaning, the house looks noticeably better and more livable. She's relieved and points out that it feels different now, clearly satisfied with the result. She then seriously tells Ash that he should clean the place regularly from now on. Ash, instead of arguing, casually changes the subject and asks about dinner. She notices he's deliberately dodging the topic, while he just smiles and stays quiet, keeping the mood light and slightly awkward. She casually asks if she can use the shower. Ash hesitates and points out that it's a man's home, wondering if she's really okay with that. She pauses, then decides it doesn't matter anymore. After being carried around and embarrassed earlier, using his shower isn't a big deal. Ash immediately apologizes for overthinking it, and the moment ends in awkward but honest acceptance. She smiles warmly and apologizes for teasing him, saying she truly doesn't mind what happened. Her relaxed, cheerful attitude catches Ash off guard and reminds something. After that, she casually announces she's going to take a shower. Ash suddenly remembers the game's story. Seeing her on the screen in his memory, it finally clicks for him, she isn't just some side character. He realizes that she is the heroine, the central character of the story, and everything that's been happening around her now makes sense. Ash puts the pieces together in his mind. The reason his cold healed instantly was because she used holy magic, something only the heroine is supposed to have. But in this world, holy magic is no longer seen as sacred, it's feared and treated like dark magic. That realization explains everything: the hostility, the insults, and why the upper-rank students targeted her so harshly. She wasn't bullied for no reason, she was persecuted because of the very power that makes her the heroine. The heroine, fine, is supposed to save the world, but instead she's being feared, bullied, and pushed aside because her holy magic is treated as something evil. If things continue as they are, the story won't reach a happy ending, it's heading straight toward the bad ending, where everything falls apart. The heroine, fine, is supposed to save the world, but instead she's being feared, bullied, and pushed aside because her holy magic is treated as something evil. If things continue as they are, the story won't reach a happy ending, it's heading straight toward the bad ending, where everything falls apart. This page explains the rules of the bad ending route more clearly. If you try to quit or reset midway, everything you've unlocked is lost, so the player is forced to keep going no matter how painful it gets. That's why the bad route is designed as endurance, endless suffering instead of a quick ending. Ash realizes the truth, they're already deep inside that route right now, and Fine is the one being forced to suffer through it. After using the shower, the girl thanks Ash politely. He brushes it off, saying not to worry. Then he suddenly realizes, and asks directly if he's fine. The girl realizes that Ash already knew who she was and asks him directly if that's true. She's clearly nervous, worried that her identity or background might have changed how he treated her. Ash admits that he had heard rumors before about a commoner girl with exceptional magical talent who was placed in an upper rank class. He makes it clear that this is something people talked about and not something he learned from her directly. He apologizes for being insensitive earlier, realizing he might have sounded harsh. Internally, Ash reflects that the rumors about her probably start spreading because things had already shifted into the bad ending route of the story. In response, she smiles warmly and tells him not to worry about it, showing that she isn't upset and is trying to reassure him. Fine hesitates and tells him that she's the one who should be apologizing for hiding her name from him. She feels guilty for not being honest sooner. He answers calmly that he's actually fine with it, showing he doesn't blame her. After that, Ash realizes he's messed up. He notices the look on her face and thinks to himself that he didn't mean to make her look so sad and lonely. Ash awkwardly offers to let her stay at his house for the night since it's already late. She politely accepts and thanks him, saying she's happy to take up the offer. The scene then skips to the next morning. Ash opens the door and casually greets her with good morning, but she was not there. and there was a letter on the table. She leaves behind a very formal, written apology saying she's sorry for hiding her identity, causing trouble, and inconveniencing him, and that she'll leave right away. When Ash sees it, he's completely caught off guard. He's confused and frustrated, realizing too late that she took everything much more seriously than he expected. He internally blames himself, thinking he should have predicted how she'd react given her current emotional state. In short, she misunderstood the situation, assumed she was a burden, and left before he could explain or stop her. He finally makes a clear decision. He understands that continuing on this bad ending route only means Find will keep getting hurt over and over, losing the warmth and smile that define her. Seeing how much she's already suffered convinces him that this path is wrong, so he resolves to stop it. He doesn't want to watch her smile fade anymore, and he doesn't want to be the reason she keeps suffering. In this moment, he decides to change his actions and try to protect her instead of letting the story keep pushing her toward a tragic outcome. Ash is rushing through the academy because he's worried and wants to find Find as quickly as possible. As he moves through the grounds, he notices an unusually large crowd gathered in one place and realizes something is going on. When he gets closer, he hears upper-ranked nobles mocking and complaining, blaming commoners as usual. That's when he sees the center of the scene and it shocks him. Find is there, surrounded by nobles, and standing with Prince Alberich. This page is introducing the group of elite male characters surrounding Find. The three men shown at the top are all extremely high-status nobles. One is the son of the kingdom's finance minister and a talented magic student who also runs businesses. Another is the son of the best royal court magician and a genius magician himself. The third is the son of a renowned general, famous for both bravery and combat skill. Together, they are known as the Four Knights, the most influential, handsome, and powerful men in the academy. In the game's original story, they are the main capture targets. Ash notices a woman is standing very close to Prince Alberich, with his arm around her protectively. Find is being openly accused and attacked verbally by upper-rank students. One of them claims that she not only threatened Elise, but also tried to use forbidden or wicked magic on everyone at the academy. He declares that such a person has no place there and says he will never accept her presence. Find calmly denies everything. She states clearly that she did not do any of those things. However, the others don't listen. They immediately call her a liar and insult her, labeling her a witch. One of them insists that only Find could have stolen Elise's belongings, accusing her without evidence. Another adds that people who look down on others and torment them shouldn't exist in the academy, ironically saying this while doing exactly that to Find. Elise steps forward and speaks up for Find. She says that it's impossible for Find to be a villain, and say, "It may very well be me who's the villainess." But Prince denied it, saying, "How could a kind girl like you be the villainess?" The atmosphere stays tense. The surrounding nobles are still suspicious. To Ash, the whole scene felt like a cheap, cliched farce. Seeing that reason wouldn't change anything, he resolved to step in and end it himself with magic. Ash deliberately causes a sudden downpour. The rain comes out of nowhere, shocking everyone and cutting off the confrontation. The crowd is thrown into confusion, people can't see properly, panic a bit, and start scrambling. Someone urgently tells Elise to take cover inside the school building. Ash grabs Find's hand firmly and pulls her away from the scene. Find is surprised and calls out his name, but Ash doesn't hesitate, he tells her to come with him. This shows he's prioritizing her safety and acting decisively to get her out of danger before things get worse. After Ash pulls Find away, they take shelter while the rain keeps pouring. Find, still shaken, asks him honestly why he saved her back there. He reminds her that he already said he couldn't just leave her alone. Ash answers seriously and bluntly. He tells her that right now, she's basically heading toward her own destruction if things continue as they are. Find quietly accepts this and responds as she understands. Ash notices that both of them are soaked from the rain and says they should do something about their wet clothes. Find casually says there's no need to worry about it. And, before Ash can react, she uses magic. In an instant, Ash's wet clothes and hair dry completely. Ash is surprised and realizes this must be the magic he heard rumors about. Find confirms it, the spell is called Blessing. It's a type of holy magic that cleanses impurities from the body, and supposedly only she can use it. Ash gently takes Find's hands and asks her a difficult but sincere question. He wonders if the reason she's being bullied and treated badly is because of her magic. He admits it's a painful thing to ask, but says that if they want to improve the situation, he needs to understand the truth. Ash then asks her directly to tell him everything that has happened to her so far. Find quietly agrees to Ash's request. She tells him it's a long story and asks if he's okay with listening. When he reassures her, she begins to explain her past. She says that for as long as she can remember, she has possessed a strange and powerful ability, the power to instantly heal any wound or sickness. This magic isn't something she learned, it's something she's always had. Fine explains her childhood. She was raised in an orphanage by Mother Hilda, a kind nun who took care of her. Mother Hilda taught Fine that her healing power was dangerous if misused, so she strictly told her not to use it freely. Fine was only allowed to use her power when Mother Hilda gave permission, and only in serious cases when an injury was so severe that normal medicine or potions couldn't heal it. Fine obeyed this rule and accepted it as something necessary. At that time, her life was peaceful. She lived quietly with other children at the orphanage on the frontier, helping when allowed and spending her days like a normal child. Fine explains that 3 years ago, while gathering herbs in the mountains, she found a man who was badly injured. Even though she knew she wasn't supposed to use her power freely, she broke Mother Hilda's rules and healed him immediately because his condition was severe. After recovering, the man was surprised by her healing ability and asked her many questions. He said he wanted to repay her kindness and asked for her name. Fine refused any reward, saying she only did what anyone else would have done. As they walked down the mountain together, the man showed interest in her, not just gratitude, but curiosity. About 1 year later, Fine is officially invited to enroll in the Royal Magic Academy under a special exception. Someone delivers the notice saying she's allowed to join despite the usual rules. Fine happily accepts. She believes that by studying at the academy, she'll be able to save many more people with her healing magic, so she agrees without hesitation. However, once she arrives, reality hits her. The academy is meant only for nobles, and Fine is a commoner. Because of that, she immediately stands out and is treated as something strange or out of place by the other students. After enrolling, Elise introduces herself properly and suggests they get along from now on, acting friendly and approachable. Elise is the only person at the academy who talks to her normally, so Fine naturally opens up to her. Fine explains her healing power to Elise. Not long after that, Elise starts paying unusual attention to Fine. She keeps involving herself in Fine's daily activities, telling her what classes they have, what to do, and even advising her to put certain things away, acting as if she knows what's best for her. Fine explains that before she realized it, she had already started living according to Elise's decisions, going where Elise suggested, doing what Elise wanted, and adjusting her life around her. From Fine's point of view, Elise appeared gentle and kind on the surface, but Fine interpreted this as Elise subtly controlling her. Elise convinces herself that Fine is threatening her with wicked magic, even though there is no direct proof. She begins to see Fine's healing power not as kindness, but as something dangerous and manipulative. Because of this fear and prejudice, Elise justifies her own hatred by blaming Fine's power rather than her own feelings. Fine explains how the situation slowly turned against her. Elise began using large amounts of healing potions to treat Prince Alberich and his friends' injuries that Fine herself could have easily healed. This made it look like Fine was refusing to help on purpose or forcing others to rely on Elise instead. As rumors spread, Fine was labeled with cruel names like witch, villainous, and tramp. By the time Fine realized what was happening, it was already too late. The academy had fully turned against her. The final trigger came during an outdoor combat training session. Fine cast a spell meant to be defensive protection, but because the people involved weren't accustomed to real combat, it resulted in a fatal accident. This incident sealed Fine's reputation and pushed her completely into the role of the villain in everyone's eyes, even though she never intended to harm. After the accident during training, the students completely turn on Fine. They accuse her of pretending to use defensive protection when they believe she was actually trying to kill them. Her magic is no longer seen as healing or holy, only as something dangerous and disgusting. They shout at her, insult her, and order her to never use her power in front of them again. Fine is shocked and hurt, clutching her chest as she realizes that nothing she says will change their minds. Sometime later, the rumors and hatred only grow worse. People openly call her a witch and treat her as guilty without proof. Fine is summoned and confronted by the academy's authorities along with Prince Alberich and the others. They accuse her of repeated barbaric behavior and decide they've had enough. Without properly listening to her side, they declare that she will be expelled from the academy. Fine is completely shocked. She insists she didn't do anything wrong and desperately begs them to listen, but no one takes her seriously. Her words fall on deaf ears. To make things worse, they threaten to destroy the orphanage where Fine grew up, calling it a place raised by a wicked villainess if she continues to resist their decision. This leaves Fine stunned and powerless. In the end, she is ordered to leave the academy immediately, marking the moment when everything she worked for is taken away from her, not because of proof, but because fear, prejudice, and rumors have fully turned everyone against her. After everything that happened, Fine loses awareness and later realizes she's sitting alone in a back alley, crying, completely broken by her expulsion and the threats against her orphanage. While she's there in the rain, Ash appears, holding an umbrella and a suitcase. He gently speaks to her, telling her that if she stays there, she'll catch a cold. This moment stands out because he's not accusing her or judging her, he's simply worried about her. Find realizes something important: he was the one who reached out to her in that moment, when she was at her lowest and completely alone. His presence contrasts sharply with how everyone else abandoned and condemned her. After Find finishes telling her story, Ash calmly acknowledges it and thanks her for explaining everything. He now understands what really happened. Ash then reflects on the situation and realizes something important. Up until her enrollment at the academy, everything followed the main story of the Otome game Kazuyaru exactly as it was supposed to. The person she saved in the mountains should have become the crown prince's ally, and Mother Hilda was originally meant to guide a saint who would later fight the demon lord. But that future was quietly altered. The burden that should have gone to someone else ended up being placed on Find instead. From this realization, Ash reaches a firm conclusion: the real problem isn't herself. The one disrupting the story and twisting events is Elise. In Kazuyaru, the story only truly begins after Find heals someone, which makes the captured targets notice her. That means her healing power is supposed to be the trigger of the route. However, Ash believes Elise interfered. Elise copied Find's role by using large amounts of potions, making it look like she had holy healing magic. By doing that, Elise stole Find's position and redirected the attention of the captured targets toward herself. Something like that shouldn't be possible unless someone already knows the full story of Kazuyaru in advance and then deliberately manipulating events. Ash finishes putting all the clues together and reaches a conclusion. Based on how Elise knew the game's events in advance, copied Find's role, and deliberately changed the story's flow, he believes Elise is very likely a reincarnator. Find reacts with uncertainty, showing she's surprised and still trying to process what he's thinking. Find sincerely thanks Ash for saving her again. She then says she doesn't want to cause him any more trouble, so she plans to step away and handle things on her own. Her words show resignation. She's accepted being targeted and believes distancing herself is the best solution. Ash immediately challenges that mindset. He asks her whether she's truly okay with staying defeated by Elise and her group. Ash bluntly challenges Find, asking if she really intends to run away and accept being humiliated by Elise and her group. His words are harsh on purpose. He's trying to snap her out of her resignation and force her to confront how unfair the situation is. Find reacts emotionally. She firmly says she doesn't want to run away at all, but admits her frustration and helplessness. She has no way to prove her innocence or protect the orphanage she cares about. Even so, her response shows determination rather than surrender. Ash notices that immediately. With a calm, confident smile, he tells her she still has fight left in her. Ash confidently tells Find that if she truly wants to fight back, he will help her defeat Elise and everyone behind her. His posture and smile show that he already has a plan and is completely sure it will work. Find asks Ash if she can trust him. She's nervous, but determined. This is her choosing to stop running and to fight back. Ash answers confidently, telling her to trust him and follow his lead, showing that he's fully committed to helping her. A couple of days later, his friends casually greet him and try to bring up what happened before, but Ash brushes it off, clearly not wanting attention or gossip. He notices people watching him and realizes he's being quietly avoided or treated differently, but he stays calm and composed. He replied to his friend that things have become awkward after recent events. Ash is talking casually with his classmates when they mention that the school was dismissed early the day before because of the heavy rain. Ash quietly realizes that people probably don't know the full reason behind what happened, but he suspects some of it might still be connected to him. While listening, Ash reflects internally. After everything that happened, he believes letting Find rest at his house today was the right decision. At the same time, he decides that he shouldn't rely only on assumptions. He needs to gather information on his own to properly understand the situation and what Elise might be planning. Ash is talking with his classmates, and he mentions a rumor about Elise. They say that Elise is always seen in the garden every day, and that she rotates between the 4 nights. They even joke that it looks like some kind of multiple engagement, showing how openly suspicious and strange her behavior appears to others. Hearing this, Ash realizes something important. So that's how it is. This confirms his suspicion. In the game Kazuyaru, there is a special reverse harem route where the heroine can get engaged to all 4 capture targets at the same time. Ash understands that current Elise is likely following that exact route. Ash is thinking that if Elise really knows the story of Kazuyaru, then her strange behavior makes sense. What he needs to confirm now is whether she's truly a reincarnator or not. He comes up with a simple test. Elise usually goes to the cafeteria before noon, because that's where the game events often happen. Since she's someone who follows efficiency and optimal routes, it would make sense for her to be there. Then Ash goes to the cafeteria and sees Elise there, exactly as he expected. Ash approaches Elise while she's at the cafeteria counter, clearly focused on choosing her food. He politely calls out to her by name, "Miss Elise Ringstadt," which surprises her. She wasn't expecting him to address her directly. Elise turns around, startled at first, then confirms that yes, she's Elise. Ash then casually brings up a rumor he's heard, that she's engaged to a prince. Congratulating Elise on her engagement to the second prince, treating it like common knowledge. Elise speaks in a calm, slightly playful tone. She says she's happy to receive congratulations from someone like Ash, but then casually brings up the heavy rain from yesterday, asking if it was meant to celebrate her engagement. She then adds that, from her point of view, Ash actually looked like he was being protective at the time when the rain suddenly poured down. Ash apologizes, saying that his training got out of control and that he didn't mean to hurt anyone. Ash speaks confidently, almost casually, as he reframes Fine's situation. He says it's only natural that people now see her as a Cinderella or a modern-day Princess Kaguya, someone who rose from nothing and captured everyone's attention. He points out that she's even engaged to Prince Alberich, making her the symbol of hope for commoners without noble backing. Elise smiles and says she's happy to be called that, accepting the flattering image people have of her. Ash, however, watches her closely and realizes there's something off beneath her smile. He then explains that her rise in closeness to someone noble looks good on the surface, but it feels like there's a deeper motive behind it. When Elise asks for an example of what he means, Ash admits it's not something she can easily understand. Ash directly asks Elise whether she's troubled by the rumors about Fine, a commoner, being close to nobles. Elise first reacts with surprise, then says it really bothers her. She explains that Fine spread bad rumors about her, accused her of stealing, and damaged her reputation, all while getting close to influential nobles. Ash gently acknowledges that what Elise went through must have been very hard for her. Then she revealed that after Prince Alberich spoke with the academy head, a decision was made. Elise will receive a resignation notice and be expelled from the academy the next day. Ash apologizes for taking up Elise's time and clearly states that he supports Elise. Elise calmly accepts this and thanks him. After putting everything together, the strange knowledge Elise has, how events match the game's story, and her actions, Ash becomes certain of the truth. He concludes that there's no mistake anymore. Elise is a reincarnator. Ash finishes organizing his thoughts. He realizes that stories like Cinderella or Princess Kaguya don't exist in this world, but Elise still knows them. If she were truly born here, she wouldn't recognize or reference those stories at all. Because Elise understands the game's main plot and acts in ways that match it, Ash concludes that the evidence is already sufficient. He's done investigating. Now, it's time for him to act and confront the situation directly. Fine panics when she hears she might be expelled by force. Ash immediately denies that idea. He explains that they will appeal the decision, prove that Fine's resignation letter was false, and clear her name through a duel. When Fine asks if Elise would really do something like that, Ash calmly answers with a simple yes. Ash explains how duels work in this country. If a decision is unfair, it can be overturned through a formal duel. That's why duels are highly respected. Refusing one would damage a noble family's honor. Fine becomes worried when she sees who might stand against her. She realizes they are all officially recognized elites with proven abilities, and asks how she could possibly win against them. Ash answers honestly. He says he won't leave Fine to fight alone, but she will still have to put in far more effort than usual. Ash asks Fine if she's ready. Fine answers honestly that if there's something she can do, she's willing to try. Hearing that, Ash agrees and says that if that's her resolve, then they'll move forward. The next scene shows them calmly settling things. They'll follow the plan starting tomorrow. Fine responds confidently, saying alright, showing that she has accepted what's coming and is prepared to face it together with Ash. The next day, Fine is brought out in front of many students. Elise and her group publicly mock her again, saying she's still useless and doesn't even have the ability to learn properly. The crowd watches, making the situation tense and humiliating for Fine. One of the nobles, Eugene, reacts angrily, wondering who Fine even is to dare show up like this. The prince accuses Fine of repeatedly spreading malicious rumors and using harmful magic that caused unrest among the students. He says her actions have defamed Elise and damaged the reputation of the Royal Magic Academy. Because of this, the academy, through the prince's authority, decides to expel Fine by force. Fine, shocked and trembling, quietly acknowledges the accusation, realizing that this is the official reason she is being expelled and that the decision has already been made against her. Fine firmly speaks up for herself. She says that if that is the case, then she declares that the accusation itself is a lie. To prove her innocence, she boldly states that she will challenge the noble, the prince, to a duel. After Fine declares a duel, Ash steps forward. When asked who he is, he introduces himself as Ash Laban, the second son of the Laban family, a noble house. Some people look down on his family status, but that doesn't stop him. Ash confidently says, "Allow me to be Fine's partner." This means he will officially fight on Fine's side in the duel. The terms of the duel are being decided. It's announced that the duel will be 2 versus 2. One side questions whether just 2 people are really enough, and then suggests that Elise should also join the fight. This clearly makes the opposing side uncomfortable. They react with frustration and hesitation. The crowd gathers around, watching closely as the pressure increases. The prince steps forward angrily and declares that he will not allow Elise to be treated like a criminal. Ash steps in beside Fine and openly supports her. Ash demands that the false accusations be withdrawn, that Fine's forced resignation be cancelled, and that an apology be made to her. He also warns them not to harm Fine or anyone connected to her again. The prince steps forward and takes control of the situation. He openly insults the opposing group, saying he doesn't want to see trash like them in his sight. Then he makes his demand very clear. If they lose, they will be banished from the nation with no mercy. If they agree, the duel will proceed under those terms. Fine clearly accepts the conditions. She says she never intended to lose from the start and that she's come this far with firm resolve. When asked if she agrees to the terms, she answers yes without hesitation. The prince sets the final conditions of the duel. He gives them 1 week to prepare and declares that the duel will take place at the Academy Coliseum. He says this delay is a small mercy, but makes it clear that he will show no restraint. 1 week after the incident, it's the day of the duel. Ash asks Fine what their plan is for today. Fine answers that Ash should fight the way he wants. She then says that she will move according to Ash's instructions, meaning she'll support and act strategically rather than fight on the front line. Ash tells Fine that they must win the duel. Fine asks if he's confident, and he answers yes. Fine agrees and says alright, accepting his resolve. They hold hands, showing trust and teamwork. The narration explains that they've spent the entire week preparing. Now, all that's left is to claim victory. The duel finally begins. The prince declares that in this duel, he will bring down the unjust people who framed Elise and secure a proper victory for her. Ash confidently says that Fine is on his side, which is why he's sure he will win. Fine stands next to him, calm and resolute, showing her support. The match is officially announced, and both sides take their positions in the arena. With that, the duel starts. When the opponent attacks, Ash moves first and steps in front of Fine to protect her. He tells Fine that he's leaving it to her, meaning he trusts her to handle the magic side. Fine stays calm and agrees. She then uses her magic and casts Light Barrier. Fine's Light Barrier is already up, forming a protective shield around her and Ash. The opponent attacks again, but the strike hits the barrier and is blocked, not reaching them at all. The attacker is shocked and realizes the attack didn't work. He gets angry and rushes in recklessly, shouting that it's disrespectful. The opponent launches another strong attack, causing a huge impact against Fine's light barrier. The explosion of force spreads outward, but the barrier doesn't break at all. Fine and Ash stand calmly inside the shield, completely unharmed. The attacker realizes his weapon still can't get through and panics, shouting in frustration that it's impossible to break. The enemy prepares another heavy attack and swings down with full force toward Fine and Ash. Ash stays calm, watching closely, while Fine steps forward. Fine activates a new spell called Defense Blessing. She raises her hands and releases the magic, strengthening Ash's protection. The opponent rushes in and swings his weapon at close range. Ash steps forward at the right moment and catches the weapon with his bare hand, stopping the attack completely. The attacker is shocked and panics, realizing his strike has been neutralized. Ash remains calm and composed, showing that even without using magic, he has full control of the situation. The opponent tries to overpower Ash by pushing his weapon forward with force. Ash counters by twisting his body and redirecting the weapon, breaking the opponent's balance. The opponent loses his footing. He is thrown forward and crashes to the ground. His weapon breaks into two. Fine steps forward and puts up a magic shield, shouting Light Barrier. The barrier forms in front of her and completely blocks the incoming attack. The attacker is shocked because his attack hits the barrier, but it can't break through at all. Fine keeps the light barrier up and tells Ash to take the chance to go on offense by giving him an attack blessing, a buff to strengthen his attack. Ash agrees and thanks her, showing their teamwork and trust. The opponent is already tired and off balance, which Ash immediately notices. He moves in close and comments that the enemy is full of openings. Using the boost from Fine and the moment created by her defense, Ash rushes forward and lands a solid hit, striking the opponent hard. The duel ends better than expected. Both opponents are knocked down. Ash and Fine's hard training pays off, especially the intense dungeon practice they did while waiting for the duel. They didn't just level up efficiently and learn useful techniques, but also prepared carefully. Fine uses a special item that reduces her holy magic consumption, and Ash obtained a sword that increases EXP gain. Just when it looks like Ash and Fine have already won, a huge stone golem suddenly appears. Fine immediately realizes the danger and shouts for Ash to get away, warning him not to get too close. She notes that if they had used this enemy earlier, the fight would have been much harder. Recon Arbak jumps onto the golem and declares that this enemy is their opponent. Standing on the golem's body, he calmly prepares a spell. He then casts Fireball, directly attacking Ash from long range. Find analyzes the situation and realizes the problem. Ash can't easily finish the golem from close range alone. Find talks to Ash and asks him to help by making the golem lose balance or fall down, so it becomes easier to destroy. Ash agrees and prepares to act from a distance. Recon casts Fireball at Ash. Arc uses a sword technique called Aqua Splash. The opponent is shocked and realizes what's happening, thinking, "What? He's cutting magic with a sword?" The attack uses the water element, which is naturally strong against fire. On top of that, Fine has already given buffs, strengthening the magic even more. Because of this combination, the enemy's fire-based magic is easily neutralized. At first glance, Aqua Splash looks like a normal sword swing. But in reality, it's a magic sword technique that releases water element magic through the blade. So the sword isn't just cutting physically, it's cutting through magical attacks using elemental advantage. As a result, the golem and its attacks are overwhelmed, and Arc can move in safely while the enemy is pushed back. Arc closes in under the golem and slashes at its legs with precise sword strikes. Arc realizes that even though the golem looks sturdy, it's actually more fragile than expected. That's because its durability is only about half of its owner's, so it can't withstand sustained attacks. While Arc is in motion, Fine uses binding magic, which restrains Recon's movement. Recon is caught off guard, surprised that the spell activated so quickly. Fine has successfully restrained the enemies with her binding magic. She realizes and says that both opponents are already bound, so they can't move anymore. Because of that, she confidently states that they can't do anything now. Arc acknowledges this and praises her in his thought, saying, "Good job, Fine." In the background, the spectators and the enemies are shocked. They can't believe what they're seeing and start panicking, realizing the situation has completely turned around. Elise internally panics, thinking everything was going smoothly. He was close to pushing Fine out of the heroine position, but suddenly this unknown guy, Arc, completely overturned the fight. The situation has narrowed down to only one enemy left. You can see the others already defeated and lying on the ground. Recon urgently calls out Alberich. "Are you ready?" showing panic and desperation. Alberich answers calmly and confidently. He says that thanks to them buying time, he has already charged his weapon with a large amount of royal family magic. This is important because royal family magic is extremely powerful and dangerous, not something ordinary students should be able to handle. Arc reacts in shock, repeating, "A weapon infused with royal magic." This scene represents the reveal of the prince's final move, a calm, confident stance, right before unleashing a powerful strike. Now let's move to another scene from the past. The enemy is mocking them, laughing and saying that this is all the hero Eren can do. Eren is badly injured and struggling to stand, clearly exhausted after the fight. One of his companions calls out to him in worry, while Clear urgently tells him not to die. Clear kneels beside Eren and gently holds him, speaking softly. She tells him that he has already taught her so many things, and that being able to stay by his side is what makes her happiest. Eren, weak and barely conscious, murmurs her name in response. As Clear reaches toward him, he starts to react, sensing that something important is about to happen. Clear steps forward calmly and smiles, clasping her hands as if making a heartfelt wish. She asks for help to win the battle, saying she wants to protect the world where they lived together and loved each other. People around her shout for her to stop and call her name, worried about what she's doing. Clear ignores the panic and raises a crystal, activating its power. Clear screams in pain as the crystal's power goes out of control. Eren, the male lead, shouts Clear, in panic and rushes toward her. At the same time, a glowing sword appears, as if responding to her sacrifice. In the original story, before this one, the heroine Clear uses a sacred item called Saint of Light and turns herself into a weapon, becoming the holy sword Clear. Thanks to this tragedy, the player, hero, is able to defeat the final boss. However, because the player becomes emotionally attached to Clear, her sacrifice doesn't feel heroic, it feels crushing and depressing. The Holy Sword Clear is a legendary weapon passed down through the royal family, starting from the first king, who was also the original hero. Most importantly, the sword can only be wielded by the hero's bloodline. The prince shows the sword to the people, declaring it as proof of royal authority. It confirms that this legend is not just a game story, it really exists in this world. Because the sword exists, it also confirms the tragic fate tied to it, the sacrifice of Saint Clear. He realizes that the royal family has always treated Clear as nothing more than a tool. Clear's sacrifice, pain, and dignity were praised only after she was used. Seeing this makes him furious, he clenches his fist. To him, reducing Clear to an object and justifying it as honor is unforgivable. Ash asks Find to give her every defensive buff she has, at maximum strength. Find understands that what's about to happen is dangerous. Even so, she agrees immediately. The narration at the bottom makes it clear, the Ash's anger has reached its limit, and he is about to enter full combat mode. Find hesitates for a moment but agrees. This shows that Ash is preparing for a decisive, dangerous fight, not holding back anymore. Prince then says that even if Elise uses strengthening magic on you, it's pointless. And states clearly that Elise herself said no one can match this royal heirloom sword. Fine reacts nervously and calls out to Ash-san, realizing how serious the situation has become. Ash throws his sword away, showing he won't be needing it. Prince smirks and says, "Scared?" He then steps forward, takes up the holy sword, and acts first. With a calm but resolute expression, Prince raises the holy sword and swings it down decisively to deliver the final blow. Ash catches the sword mid-swing. Even though the prince is wielding the holy sword and attacking with full intent, Ash steps in at the last moment and grabs the blade with his bare hand. Prince's eye widening and sweat show shock. He didn't expect Ash to attack like this, especially after everything that happened. Ash drives his body forward and slams his fist hard. It's a solid body blow, not a flashy technique. While still holding the blade, he drives a punch straight into the face. Prince cries out in pain, clearly not expecting a direct physical attack. Ash didn't stop and continued to drive punches and slaps straight into the prince's face. It's sudden and humiliating, not a sword strike or magic, just a direct physical blows. The crowd panics, wondering if the prince is okay, because dropping the holy sword is unthinkable for someone of his status. Ash has clearly overpowered him in close combat, turning the duel completely in his favor and stunning everyone present. After the slap, blood coats Ash's hand. The impact was so strong that it split the prince's lip or cheek, leaving fresh blood smeared across Ash's fingers and palm. Fine grabs Ash from behind and clings to him, pressing her face into his back while begging him to stop. Her voice, "Please stop," shows panic and fear. She's worried Ash has gone too far. Ash, meanwhile, is still holding the sword in one hand. His body is tense and angled forward, showing that his anger hasn't fully cooled yet. Prince is shown collapsed and unable to continue, clearly defeated both physically and mentally after the duel. Ash then hand over the holy sword to nearby guard. Then Ash regains control of himself and apologizes for letting his emotions run wild. Because the prince can no longer fight, the duel is officially ended by the authority present. The result is then declared. Feinstadt and Ash Laban are the winners. After the duel ends, Fine tells Ash not to hurt himself anymore. Ash calms down and agrees. Fine then uses healing magic, Blessing of Healing, Pure Connect. Ash's injured hand is healed, and his wounds stop bleeding. At the same time, the defeated prince is still kneeling on the ground, exhausted and unable to stand, while the other fallen participants lie nearby. Fine hesitates for a bit, then creates a cure field, a healing area that affects everyone inside it. After the duel ends, Ash speaks first. "Isn't this a problem? You are healing those people who have treated you so cruelly." But Fine reply, "What they did is unforgivable. Even so, I can't just watch people get hurt." Suddenly the prince, Alberich, then reacts. He claims the duel was strange and unfair, suggesting Ash and Fine must have cheated or done something dishonorable. Then someone points out that nothing unfair happened and that Alberich's behavior is what's truly shameful, especially coming from a prince, and makes it clear that Ash and Fine won fairly, and the prince is just lashing out because you lost and your pride was hurt. In this scene, the older brother steps forward and bows deeply. He apologizes sincerely for his younger sister's foolish actions and takes responsibility as the family head. He promises that his sister will be punished properly and that an official sanction will be announced later. The younger sister is visibly shaken. She clings to the prince, showing fear and guilt. Crowd becomes silent after seeing this. The brother then turns to Fine and asks for her opinion, showing respect and leaving the final judgment to her rather than forcing forgiveness. Fine calmly speaks up and sets clear conditions. She says that during this duel, Ash must not face any legal punishment for what he did. In other words, she wants to make sure Ash is fully protected and won't be blamed later. The noble, the older brother, immediately agrees. He states that Ash will not be punished, and adds that anyone who tries to misuse or take the royal heirloom sword will be dealt with by him personally. This confirms that the responsibility lies entirely with his side, not Ash. After hearing this, Fine formally accepts the apology. She does so politely and without hostility, showing that she is not seeking revenge, only fairness and safety for Ash. However, she asks one more question, implying that she still has something important to say. Fine politely asks the noble whether they have met before. The noble answers calmly that no, today is the first time, which surprises Ash a little. Ash says that something about the situation feels wrong. Normally, Ilse's, as Elisa's big brother and someone with higher authority, should have been the one to approve Fine's entry into the Royal Magic Academy. Fine realizes her question might have been inappropriate, so she apologizes for asking something strange. Ilses responds calmly, saying there's no need to worry about it. Ilses explains that the Holy Sword Clear is a secret known only to a few people. Because of this incident, the prince and Elisa will be questioned in detail later by the kingdom's knights. Ilses also finds it suspicious how Elisa knew about the sword and tried to take it. To prevent things from getting louder and more chaotic, Ilses tells Ash and Fine to leave. He says he will handle the crowd and the aftermath himself. Ash agrees, and he and Fine leave together. After everything is over, Ash says they can finally go home, showing he's exhausted. Ash brings up Fine's earlier question because he wants to address it properly instead of leaving it vague. He asks her what she was really trying to confirm back then. Fine admits that she feels the person she helped in the mountain is similar to His Highness, but it seems it's just her feeling. Unlike that person, His Highness seems a bit arrogant, and his aura is a bit intimidating. Ash reflects on Fine's earlier question. He thinks that if two people who meet really are both meeting for the first time, then Fine might be right. But if that's true, the story behind it feels unstable, like something doesn't quite add up at its core. Then Fine, a bit hesitant, asks Ash what he would do if she returned to the academy. She's unsure and nervous. Ash says he'll stay at this house for now while still going to the academy, because things have become complicated. Fine asks if he can clean the house properly. Ash replies a bit awkwardly that nobles usually don't clean their own homes, that's normally a caretaker's job. Fine then points out that there's no caretaker living here right now, is there? Ash pauses and admits, yes, that's true. Fine hesitantly suggests that she become the caretaker of the house and that the two of them live together. She's clearly nervous and shy, clutching her chest, blushing, and choosing her words carefully because this is a big step for her emotionally. What she's really saying isn't just about cleaning or managing the house. It's her way of asking for permission to stay by Ash's side, to belong somewhere, and to be useful without being pushed away. Fine says it's not just about cleaning the house, she's asking whether Ash would truly be uncomfortable living together with someone like her. She questions if she would be a burden. Ash is caught off guard. Internally, he suddenly remembers a game event. A living together scenario where closeness increases, including awkward and embarrassing moments, like the hot spring memory. Ash agrees to Fine's proposal, but he makes his position clear. He says he will still pay her wages, and that she doesn't have to live there if she doesn't want to, just staying temporarily is enough for him. He also says he doesn't intend to drag this issue out or make it complicated. Fine understands and accepts those conditions. Ash then suggests they treat this as a temporary arrangement, something they can renegotiate later once things calm down. Fine happily agrees, and they shake hands, confirming their agreement. The scene shifts to the royal court. Several nobles kneel and apologize deeply to the king for the foolish actions of their children. They say they accept responsibility and ask for forgiveness. The king responds calmly but seriously. He says the responsibility doesn't lie only with the children, the adults and the kingdom itself also share the blame. This incident isn't something that can be brushed aside easily, because it involves how the situation should have been handled from the start. Ilses explains the situation to the king. He states that, in this case, the heaviest crime was committed by his foolish younger sister and His Highness, who abused royal authority and tried to take confidential kingdom assets. For crimes like that, even execution would not be excessive. However, Ilses pauses and brings up another point. He asks the king how to properly reward Ash and Fine, since they are the ones who stopped the incident and successfully recovered the secret assets. King asks, Ilses, what do you think is appropriate? Ilses proposes how Ash and Fine should be rewarded. For Fine's thought, Ilses says it's enough to award her a hero medal, officially recognizing her contribution. For Ash Laban, Ilses points out that it would be a waste for someone as capable as him to remain an ordinary commoner just because he is the second son of a baron's family. Because of that, Ilses makes a proposal. Since the Weiss Viscount family currently has no heir, Ash could be adopted as their successor and become a noble of the royal court. The king is considering Ilses' proposal, but he points out that a decision this big will cause backlash, so they need support from powerful figures. Ilses explains that there is no law forbidding the second son of a baron from being raised to the rank of viscount, even if it hasn't happened before. As prime minister, he is willing to take responsibility for proposing it. Several important people step forward to support the decision. A noble asks permission to give his backing. A general named Grime declares that he will personally take responsibility as well. Another official agrees, showing that the proposal has strong political support. Finally, Ilses argues that since the offenders are sons of people loyal to the king, it would be reasonable if the punishment for the three involved were reduced to a formal reprimand instead of something harsher. The king then asks what punishment should be given to my son and Elise Ringstadt. Ilses answers calmly and firmly. He says that for people who still have pride and dignity, the proper punishment is not execution or exile, but to force them to publicly apologize to Ash Laban and Find Stott. This apology will take place in the Grand Hall of the Royal Magic Academy, making it a very public and humiliating punishment. Ilses notes that this kind of shame can follow someone for the rest of their life, making it a serious consequence. The king accepts this proposal. However, the king also adds that the final authority over the punishment belongs to Ilses himself. Ilses acknowledges this and states that he has already decided how the matter will be handled, in accordance with the king's wishes. A noble asks whether treating Ash and Find this way is really acceptable. The response explains that for the kingdom to survive long-term, it needs people who can act as powerful assets in times of crisis. Ash is singled out because he possesses unusual and abnormal combat abilities that are not yet fully understood. At the same time, Find's awakening as the Saint of Light is acknowledged as an extremely rare and important event. Ilses is saying that without concrete proof, all discussions about Ash and Find's power are still just empty theories. However, regardless of that uncertainty, the kingdom believes it needs pressure from external threats to justify strengthening itself. By acquiring powerful individuals, the kingdom gains the leverage and strength needed to survive for the next 100 years. That long-term survival is the real goal. Because of this, even if the method feels harsh or morally questionable, Ilses concludes that there is no hesitation in proceeding. The laws and judgments are being used not purely for justice, but as a foundation to secure the nation's future. At the same time, Ash and Find are now living together calmly, doing ordinary things like preparing meals. Unaware, they're labeled as Saint of Light, Find, and the irregular, Ash. The scene then shifts to Find wakes Ash up in the morning. She leans over him and says, "Ash-san, wake up. It's already morning." Ash is still half asleep in bed and slowly wakes up, greeting her with good morning. In the morning, Ash is about to leave the house for the Royal Magic Academy. He says goodbye and tells Find that he'll go ahead first. Find is doing housework, she's washing clothes and carrying a basket of laundry. She tells Ash have a safe trip and says she'll follow him to the academy later after finishing the laundry. The narration explains that they intentionally leave for the academy at different times. This is because if people find out that the two who fought in the duel yesterday are now living in the same house, it could cause rumors and trouble. Ash arrives at the Royal Magic Academy, and a classmate named Ian greets him jokingly by calling him Lord Viscount. This is because of the recent decision to elevate Ash's status. Ash immediately tells him to stop using that title, saying it sounds strange. Ian apologizes and explains that the reason he said it is because Ash defeated 4 noble knights in the duel yesterday, which was an incredible feat. Because of that, people have started giving Ash new titles and nicknames. However, Ash admits that Lord Viscount sounds a bit too exaggerated, even if my achievements were impressive. Ash then tells Ian that he's happy he still talks to him normally. Ian says they've been friends for a long time, so he knows Ash isn't the bad person the academy rumors make him out to be. Ash appreciates that and calls Ian a good friend. He even moves closer like he might hug him in gratitude. But Ian quickly backs away and jokingly says, "Hey, I'm not into that," telling Ash not to try hugging him. At that moment, a girl approaches and calls Ash, saying, "Excuse me, Ash Laban-san." The female student tells him that the headmaster of the academy wants to see him. Ian wonders if Ash might get scolded because of the duel yesterday, but Ash says that's unlikely. He explains that Lord Ilse has already made an agreement about the incident, so it probably won't lead to punishment. Ash then goes to the headmaster's office. He knocks on the door. He afterwards hears "come in," and enters politely, saying "excuse me." When Ash enters the headmaster's office, he is surprised to see that Find is already there. Then Find asks the headmaster why both of them were called here. The headmaster tells them not to be nervous, because the reason he called them is not because of a bad news. The headmaster then greets them and starts by addressing Find Stott first. He says he wants to apologize because the academy ignored the cruel rumors and slander that had been spreading about her for a long time. Find responds politely to the headmaster's apology. She asks him to raise his head, saying that simply being able to stay at the academy is already more than enough for her. She's grateful and doesn't want the headmaster to worry too much about the past rumors. Then the headmaster turns to Ash. He gives Ash a sealed letter and explains that it came directly from the king. He tells Ash to read its contents later. Ash is surprised and says, "From the king?" Ash looks at the letter from the king and thinks to himself that he has a bad feeling about it, like it might cause trouble. The headmaster tells them that the matter is finished and they can go back now. After that, the meeting ends. Ash and Find bow politely to the headmaster and leave the office. Then the scene skips forward to later. We see their house again, and Find calls out, "Ash-san, it's time to eat." This shows they have returned home and are continuing their daily life together. At dinner, Ash is sitting quietly and thinking while holding his fork. Find notices that he looks troubled. She asks him what was written in the letter from the king. Ash then explains that the letter says two things. Fine will receive a hero medal as a reward for what she did, and Ash will be promoted to the rank of Viscount. Fine is surprised when she hears Ash will become a Viscount, and she asks if they should celebrate. But Ash says not really. He explains that the letter is actually a conditional peace agreement. Fine asks what he means by that, so Ash explains the situation. Normally in the noble hierarchy, Baron, Viscount, Count, Marquis, Duke, Grand Duke, it is almost impossible to suddenly jump ranks, especially for someone like him who is only the second son of a baron family. Usually, someone in his position would end up becoming a commoner in the future unless they marry into another family. So the promotion isn't purely a reward. It's more like a political arrangement between the royal family and the nobles to settle the conflict peacefully after the incident. Ash explains the real meaning of the king's letter. The promotion to Viscount comes with a condition. The message basically says, "We will grant you the special title of Viscount to secure your future in position. In return, you must never talk about the duel incident again." So the promotion is basically a deal to keep the incident quiet. That's why Ash doesn't feel very happy about it. Fine understands and says so that's why, realizing why Ash seemed unenthusiastic earlier. Realizing his mistake, Ash quickly adds, "But the hero medal is genuinely something good, and it deserves to be celebrated." He says the hero medal she received will be the kind of award that can also be given to commoners, and it also comes with a yearly allowance, a yearly financial reward. Ash then explains another detail from the letter. The award ceremony for Fine's medal will be held at the same time as Ash's promotion ceremony. But the ceremony will happen after the Academy announces the results of the general ability exam rankings. Because of that, Ash says he probably needs to rank high in the exam. If he performs poorly, it could attract negative attention, which would make the situation worse. At the end, Ash says by the way, showing he is about to bring up another topic. He then asks Fine, what rank do you usually get in the Academy's general ability exam? Fine looks a little nervous and says then tells him to wait a moment while she checks. She brings a paper with her exam results and shows it to Ash. When Ash sees it, he reacts with surprise and says something like, "Oh, I see." Then he thinks that the best rank someone from the lower classes usually gets in the Academy is around this level because the Academy has a class hierarchy system. Ash looks at Fine's exam results and analyzes them. First, he explains that the general ability exam has 3 parts: theory test, sword combat practical test, and finally, magic practical test. Fine's sword and magic practical scores are actually pretty good, even though her performance was disturbed earlier by Elise. But the real problem is the theory test. Ash remembers that in his previous life, his theory scores were almost always near the failing line, so he understands how difficult that part can be. Then Ash decides, "Fine, from now on we'll start studying." Fine reacts with a shocked ugh, because she realizes Ash is going to make her study seriously. She nervously answers yes, looking worried about the upcoming studying. The scene then shifts to the day when the theory exam results are announced. Ash looks at the results and thinks, my score increased compared to last year. He realizes that teaching someone else, Fine, also helped improve his own understanding, so his score went up. Meanwhile, other students are talking nearby. They say that one student in class 1 got a perfect score in every theory subject. It's the first time in the Academy's history that someone achieved perfect scores in all theory exams. That student must be a genius. Ash hears the students talking about the perfect score student and thinks about it. He says to himself that getting a perfect score in even one theory subject is already extremely difficult. The only way it would be easy is if someone had knowledge from a previous life, like him. So Ash starts wondering, perfect scores in every subject. Could that class 1 student also be a reincarnator? Then the manga shows the shadow of a girl from class 1, suggesting she might be the mysterious student. Right after that, Fine calls out to him, Ash-san, probably to talk about the exam results. Ash asks, "Fine, how were your results?" Fine comes to Ash excitedly and says, "Look at this," while holding her exam result paper. When Ash looks at the paper, he is surprised and says, "Wow, your results improved a lot." Fine smiles happily and replies, "It's all thanks to you, Ash-san." So this scene shows that Fine studying with Ash worked, and her theory exam score improved, which makes both of them happy. Ash thinks to himself that Fine is naturally quick at understanding things, so it makes sense that her results improved quickly. He also says that he didn't really do much, he only helped her guess what questions might appear, told her what to memorize, and gave her old exam questions to practice. Ash afterwards says, this is the result of your own hard work. And continued by saying that actually, because they studied together, his own grades improved too. After hearing that, Fine shyly says, if that's the case, can I ask for a reward? After Fine asks for a reward, Ash agrees and asks, sure, what do you want? Fine replies that she wants to replace the cooking tools in the house, because they are starting to get worn out. Ash asks, replace which ones? Fine smiles a little awkwardly and answers, all of them. Ash is surprised and repeats, all of them? Fine nods and says yes, all of them. Ash and Fine go shopping to buy new kitchen tools. Ash tries to help choose the items and starts picking things like pots, pans, and cooking tools. But every time he suggests something, Fine rejects it. Ash looks confused, because he doesn't understand what's wrong with his choices. Finally, Fine gets a little annoyed and says, please put the kitchen tools back. After buying the kitchen tools, Ash and Fine walk back home carrying the bags. Fine looks a little worried and says, she just realized that even though her theory score improved, she wonders if it will be enough for her to reach the higher ranks in the academy. Ash reassures her and says, don't worry, if you show your ability in the sword and magic practical exams, everything will be fine. He also reminds her, besides, we already defeated those 4 knights. Hearing that, Fine smiles and says, if Ash-san says so, I feel relieved. Ash then tells Fine that she is actually very well trained and capable. Then he thinks to himself that if Fine hadn't been there earlier, he probably would have bought too many things in the shop. Fine agrees and says that's true. She then warns him, if Ash-san keeps spending money like that, you'll go bankrupt someday. Ash responds calmly that he understands and says he will be more careful with money from now on. Ash then jokingly tells Fine, you're already acting like a wife. When Fine hears that, she gets completely shocked and embarrassed and shouts. Her reaction shows she didn't expect him to say something like that, and becomes flustered. Ash continues joking and tells Fine, whoever marries you in the future will definitely be very happy. He says this because Fine is very caring and capable, like how she worries about money and manages the house. Then Ash thinks to himself that if that's the case, Prince Alberich and the others probably already wasted the perfect opportunity for something like that to happen. Meanwhile, Fine is still shocked from the earlier wife comment. She blushes and nervously repeats to herself, me, becoming a wife. Ash suddenly realizes something and quickly says, sorry. You must feel uncomfortable, right? I was being insensitive. He thinks that maybe his earlier comments about wife and marriage made Fine uncomfortable. But Fine quickly replies, no, I don't feel uncomfortable at all. She then nervously adds, anyway, I didn't take it to heart. Ash thanks Fine for her understanding. He then notices the passerbys are saying something, and overhear people talking about news from another country. The people say that the Republic is currently in chaos. The group that started the revolution and the group that was overthrown have both died. Now new factions are appearing and fighting each other. Because the situation is so unstable, they say that merchants can't safely travel there anymore. Ash hears this conversation and thinks about it. He remembers that the southern country that used to be a kingdom turned into a republic after a revolution. But since the revolution, the situation has only become more violent and unstable. Ash thinks to himself that the game he remembers, Kizuyori, didn't have much detailed information about the republic, so he doesn't really know what will happen there. Meanwhile, Fine is walking happily beside him, still thinking about what Ash said earlier. She quietly smiles and thinks to herself, I would become a wife. She is clearly still embarrassed and thinking about the idea of being someone's wife, possibly imagining Ash. At the bottom narration, the story hints at something serious. Behind the peaceful daily life of these two, the shadow of war begins to whisper.